everybody, and welcome to Skeetz' Ultimate Cataclysm Death Knight Guide. In this guide we're going to be covering talents, glyphs, gems, reforging, and rotations for both Unholy and Frost specs. The first talents that we're going to be choosing today is the very common two-handed Frost DK and into Desecration in the Unholy tree. For those that don't know, Unholy Desecration is an AoE snare on the ground. It's very good for your healers to kite through, or when you're trying to kill someone and you've got peelers, it's very hard for them to get in on you. I just love Desecration, and this is the spec that I choose, but there is another Frost spec, and I'll show you that in a bit. Now this is the second Frost spec that I'm going to show you guys, and this one specs into 1 minute strangulation. Now 1 minute strangulation is a very handy cooldown to have, especially when you're running with a class that doesn't have a silence. So if you're running on your DK with a rogue, a warlock, or a mage, something that has a silence, I would go for Desecration. But if you're running a comp with maybe a feral druid or a warrior, then definitely give 1 minute strangulate a try and see which one you like, because it can really come in handy in clutch situations when you've got a full 7-second strangulate up and ready. The third and final spec that I'll be showing you guys is the generic Unholy spec. You don't really want to be speccing any other way for Unholy. I feel that this is the best way and the most efficient way that you can put out maximum damage and maximum pressure as an Unholy DK. Now, Unholy is very, very strong when playing with casters such as mages and warlocks and shadow priests, and it also increases magic damage taken to that target when diseases are on it by 8%. So that's why Unholy is the king of playing with casters. And if you learn how to play Unholy well, you will do extremely well in Arena. First up, we're going to cover Frost Glyphs. And Glyph of Howling Blast, what it does is it applies a Frost Fever, and with the talent Chillbanes, that slows movement by 50% on your enemies, so it becomes an AoE slow. Glyph of Obliterate increases damage by 20%. Glyph of Frost Strike reduces its runic power cost, so you can spam it. Glyph of Anti-Magic Shell increases its duration by 2 seconds. Glyph of Hungering Cold makes it cost no runic power, so you can get it off in clutch situations. And Glyph of Strangulate lets, when you catch someone in a cast, it silences them for an extra 2 seconds, and the minor glyphs aren't too major, so I won't get too much into them. Now for Unholy. The glyphs in terms of major and minor for Unholy are very similar to the ones of Frost, but in Prime, the Glyph of Death Coil increases its damage and healing done by 15%, Glyph of Scourge Strike increases the shadow damage part by 30%, and Glyph of Raised Dead raises your pet with 40% more of your stamina and strength. And the only change in the major glyphs is Glyph of Death Grip, and Glyph of Death Grip only increases your Death Grip range by 5 yards, but it's still very useful in certain situations. These are the gems that I recommend that all Death Knights use. Now I jam a lot of resilience because Death Knights are very squishy nowadays, and any good cleave, spell cleave or melee cleave will be able to train you down very fast, and any survivability is more uptime, more pressure, and therefore you put out more damage in the long run, having more survivability. I'm going to list all the names of the gems so you can easily auction house search them. Pause it here if you need. Reforging on a Death Knight is fairly easy. You've got two priorities, and your number one priority is to get that 5% hit from your gear and your reforging. As soon as you've got your 5% hit, reforge all into mastery, because mastery increases your frost damage, and you're a frost DK, you do frost damage, so frost damage, it's your damage, so it increases your damage. It's very, very useful. Unholy DK is still priority. Number one is your 5% hit cap. Number two is haste, because haste increases your rune regeneration speed, and because you don't have the 2 death runes like you do as frost, you need to have as much rune uptime as you can so you can generate as much runic power, so you can enrage your pets, bring out your gargoyle. That's why haste is your number one stat priority for unholy DKs. Alright guys, we're going to go over the rotation for a Frost DK. Now, a lot of people make a common mistake as a Frost. This is what really separates the good Frost DKs from the bad, and that's spamming Howling Blast. You don't want to spam Howling Blast because it's good damage, but it would be better off used to escape, to kite, or to use it alongside death coils when someone's trying to kite you. It's an AoE slow, so if you got a melee cleave on you, you can easily get a freedom and Howling Blast them and get an AoE slow up to escape. Now, and it's not the best damage. You could be doing a lot more damage with obliterates and getting a lot more necrotics off and stuff like that, etc. Not wasting your death runes on Howling Blast. But for your rotation, you want to start off with a Frost, Chains of Ice. Then you Plague Strike to get your diseases up. Now you got both your diseases up. You've already got 40 runic power. You get Frost Strike, and you start necroticking. You get necrotics off, and you can start frost striking. And necrotic striking, make sure you use your Horn of Winter to get them up. Now, as you can see, you've got frost runes available. Now you can start using your Howling Blast once you've started getting your rotation going. Howling Blast using the spare frost runes, but a lot of the times you're going to be using those chains to keep the frost runes to chains people, to keep them to the ground, and use them for peeling as well, other targets. So that's pretty much it. The Frost Death Knight rotation isn't too great. Obviously you've got your AoE Hunger and Cold, you got your Frost Rune for your Pillar of Frost, so that's another reason why you don't want to spam Hunger and Cold. I use my Blood Tap for my strength, so I'll show you for example. Use up all the runes so that I can't use Strangulate. Oh, never mind, it's not really the same, but there I Blood Tap, you see that? And now I can get a full strang on someone. So you can use Blood Tap to get others back. Also, when your diseases fall out, just Outbreak and Pestilence, you spread your diseases again. And that's pretty much the Frost Death Knight ratio. It is pretty face roll, but knowing between using your Howling Blast, when not to use it, and to save it for peeling with change really can make you a really good Death Knight in Arena as a Frost Death Knight. Hey guys, we're going to go over the Unholy Death Knight rotation. Now this is a bit more complicated than the Frost Death Knight ratio, which is pretty self-explanatory, but you start off with the Horn of Winter, you can get them off. What you want to do is you want to get your diseases up on them ASAP. Now a lot of the times you will have AoE targets, and so you want to Pestilence straight off the bat. Start necroticking so you get your Death's Advance proc so you can't be slowed, and then you Plague Strike. Festering Strike, sorry, and Festering Strikes lets you generate death runes, as you can see there. When you use a Festering Strike, you gain death runes. And now, basically in this one, all you need to do is keep track of your diseases, spam your necrotics, make sure you're festering whenever you can, use your death calls when your runic power's up, so every time see those charges there. Once that goes to full, I'm able to summon my pet and enrage him. I use my T button to change targets with my pet. My pet's on passive, so if I press T on that guy and I start hitting that guy, my pet's going to stay on that guy. So I'm going to T, go back, because I use macros. I'm going to get into that more advanced. Also with T, when you've got enrage up, it will enrage. F is pet stun, and what it does, it turns off his auto claw and gets back on. T turns it back on as well. It's a great macro. I'm going to add it on to the end of this clip, and pretty much that's it. That's the rotation. Now that you've got your pet up, you want to start saving up your runic powers and not using your your death coils to get charges, because your pet's already enraged. Now gargoyle's up, you can get your gargoyle up, power runic weapons, start death striking, necrotic striking heaps, because you got heaps of death runes from festering strike. Look at that, I just got so much necrotic off, 240,000. That's probably built up a bit, but that would have been at least 60,000 necrotic damage. That's really insane. You keep your pet on by pressing T. See, my gargoyle went to attack the other one. I press T, and he's back on my target. So I'll add that onto the end of the macro. But that's pretty much the unholy rotation. I've got my enraged pet up again. Pet stun's back up. I'm gonna pet stun him. He's got enough energy. Now he's got enough energy. He's up. And as you can see, I'll get my death rune, my blood runes off thing. I can blood tap, get my strang up. And that's pretty much it. It's a pretty easy rotation to learn. It's hard-ish at the same time. You gotta make sure your diseases are up, because your diseases are a lot of your damage. But once you've got the Unholy Death Knight rotation down pack, it's pretty simple, and you can put out a lot of damage, and it's really quite good fun when you learn how to play. But I'll add on those macros for pet controlling at the end of the video. Make sure you use your anti-magic zone as well. You've got AMS, you got pet sack, you can get your pets straight back away. But as you can see, I've got literally 4 death runes now from festering strike. That much. 4 death runes, when they come off of cooldown, I can get a lot of necrotics and a lot of stuff off and put out a lot of pressure. So that's the unholy rotation. I'll add my macros on at the end of the video, so stay tuned. Hey guys, this is my pet stun macro, /cast no modifier, gnaw and leap. So basically, if you use no modifier, it will gnaw your current target, and then afterwards, if it's gnaws on cooldown, it will leap. So when my pet's enraged, if I pet stun and they're trying to kite me, I can use it again and it will charge him. And if your pet's enraged, it actually uses a snare. /cast modifier shift, so when I hold shift, it will leap to my focus and then it will gnaw him. And this line after that is pet autocast off claw. So basically it turns off claw, because claw uses up a lot of the energy for your pet, which is whatever it's called, it's energy or focus or whatever it is, and you might not have enough energy for leap and gnaw, so that's why it turns it off. And for my other macro, my T macro, I've got /cast dark transformation with apostrophe. It does it once, doesn't try to spam it. It's just handy, it doesn't bug out as much. /pet autocast on claw, so that's your damage one, and /pet follow /pet attack. So what happens if your pets are on different targets and you press that, your pets will follow you and then attack whatever you're targeting. So every time you switch targets or you summon your gargoyle, you should press this macro to get them on that target. It's very, very handy, and I love using it, and it's very easy to control your pet with just using 2 macros, minor bound on F and T, and then you can do your rotation. You can put out a lot of pressure as a unholy DK. And if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like the video, add to favorites, head over to WoW Guides and subscribe to the show, because it really helps me out. Thanks guys, and as always, it's Skeetz here. I'll see you next time.